Hello, welcome to a meeting with the Bishop. I'm your host, Dr. Timothy Hart, and we have another topic I want to discuss. As you see in the description, it says, "Brother, where you at? Where are the men? And what are they doing?" I saw an interview today. I know it was broadcast a few days ago, but I saw this. It was two women talking about the Tamir Rice and Kyle Rittenhouse scenario. Some pretty startling things that I heard. But I want you to listen in with me and see what you think. All right. It's I'm always starting these videos with, "Oh, we have a serious situation in this environment." Because of what I know, there's certain things I'm not going to say. Like, I'm not going to say country because I know it's not one. I'm not going to tell you that this is the best place and all that kind of stuff, because at this point, I don't know. We're not so sure. Sometimes we can judge a thing by our experience. But when we look deeper at the reality, we find it ain't so good. I was looking at this video, and as I was watching it, the one thing I noticed was that here's these women, okay, here are women, and they're having this conversation about the ramifications behind the Kyle Rittenhouse thing and the Ahmaud Arbery thing, and I thought it's strange that with all the videos I've seen, not one solution, not one. We look at life, and from time to time we see the problems, and we want those problems gone. Okay, I don't want to continue to deal with it. I want it gone. But there's some things people don't want gone. Are you listening to me? There are some people who like living in dysfunction. Some people have been trained in dysfunction and don't know anything else. But I want to say this, and I want to say this with all the respect that I can muster. That if we don't do better dealing with dysfunctions, we're gonna perish as a people. Y'all ain't gonna like that very much. And one of the problems that we have as dark Americans is we have trouble facing truth. Wait. We have trouble facing truth when it's opposing us, when we're on the wrong side of it. Oh, we like truth when somebody else is on the hot seat. We like truth when somebody else is getting getting run through the mill. We like truth when we benefit, but we don't like truth when we got to change something as a result of it. We don't like truth when it calls for us to do something we don't want to do. Then we don't like truth so much. So I want you to watch this and understand that I'll be stopping it from time to time. Let me put this up so that you'll know. Okay. All right. Go.
Checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see from Zerlina by clicking any. The list of cases ran through Rittenhouse, Ahmaud Arbery's case, and the Charlotte Valley have other glaring. The defendants in those are all white men, and it's important that we acknowledge that, because while black people can absolutely display toxic forms of masculinity, society doesn't typically afford them the same that white men get.
You see that, right?
Tamir Rice was 12 years old when
12-year-old
he was
boy
killed for playing.
Okay. You see that, right? Had a toy gun. Nobody around. Nobody around. I want to make sure y'all heard what I just said. Nobody around. Mama, daddy, cousin, brother, uncle. Mr. John wasn't even hanging out there. You know Billy from around the way. Here's a 12-year-old by himself. Okay? Now, I'm just taking my time because I wanted to sink in what we talking about here.
Kyle, 17 years old, with a real gun.
Okay. The first thing that you have to do in order to be right about any subject is you make sure that the variables have some commonness. Okay? Tamir, a minor that needed supervision. Kyle, a minor that should have had supervision, but he's old enough that he can be somewhere by himself. He's old enough that he can use a firearm. He also has the skill set to use the firearm, and he has the sanction of older people. So these two boys, only thing they got in common is a gun. And even that's speculative. Now, it's kind of weird how we can use this as a scenario, as if people can try to make this stretch. But let me tell you, I don't know. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to trying to make that stretch. Okay? Because Tamir wasn't at no rally. He wasn't at a protest. He wasn't at a place where his life would have been put in danger. He wasn't put in a position to be seen as a threat by multiple people. He was just by himself, minding his own business. But let me paint the path of Kyle. Kyle came from out of state with his weapon. Came with the intent. What was his intent? Protecting businesses. Now, before I move on from this, let me help you to get the framework here. Whenever you talk about protecting something, if you grab your firearm, y'all not listening. If I'm talking about protecting someone and I grab my firearm, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Now, prior to this, they have no record of him actually having any cause to use his weapon. Maybe he done some hunting. We don't know, but he learned how to use it from someplace. So when he traipsed his tail from his house to this location, what his intention was. His intention was, if somebody clown, I'm gonna put a bullet in him. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong if something wasn't happening to a family member and you had your pistol in the house and you grabbed your pistol. What you think you're gonna be? I'm gonna put that so and so in their place. They clown, I'm gonna bust a cap. Let's talk to the psychology here. He could have went to the protest without his firearm. He could have went there and you could protect your businesses in different ways. He could have done anything else, but he grabbed his firearm. That to me says intent. Now, watch this. He got caught up. Are you listening? This is what usually happens with people with faulty frontal lobe development. So I'm talking about teenagers. And then you can be insulted if you want to. You can look it up. Between the ages of 16 and 19, teenagers have poor frontal lobe development. It's still developing and things are in a flux. And so their powers of reasoning are not solid. They're not directed. They're not solidified to the point that they can understand the ramifications behind their actions in a lot of cases. This is why we find 16, 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds engaging in risky behavior. It's because of frontal lobe development. Okay? So he got it in his mind, I'm going to protect, and this is the way I know to protect, shoot something. And I guess he thought it was going to be as simple as just go out there and stand in front of the place, and if something comes, back up or I'll shoot. Back up or I'll shoot. But then the real world showed up. The real world showed up and somebody attacked him, and then somebody else had a gun. Now, watch this. From the video, it looks clear. It looks like clear self-defense. I'm just here to say it as former military, as an armed officer. Listen here, it looks like self-defense to me. The problem is, what is he doing there? That's the question. The question is, what is he doing here, and what was his intent? See, those people shooting at him foiled his intent. His intent was to hurt somebody messing with a business, but it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. Boy got skills though. Shot somebody falling, no stray bullets hitting no bystanders. He hit the people who we're after him. He hit the threat. We can give him that. But I tell you this here. To make that stretch between him and Tamir Rice, I don't think so. I don't think so. See, because dark Americans typically don't get into these situations. Y'all need to help me with that. Dark Americans typically don't get into these situations. Okay? Usually they're on the predator side, on the prey side. Okay? Usually they're on the side of the prey. Some being hunted. Okay? Which scared them to see the organization that had the weapons out there in Stone Mountain. See? To see guys on the street participating in their Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms and to open carry. Then there's folks, who have permits. Do the right thing and tell the officer, I have it. I'm going to reach for my ID. Y'all help me with this one. So my question is, with all this that's going on, where are the men? Let's keep it moving.
Become a hero on the far right because of that. A coincidence. And in piece for NBC News, Isaac Bailey writes, the truth is that Americans probably see themselves in Rittenhouse, afraid of anyone, whether or of color, wants to live in a more equitable country. He adds, if Rittenhouse is convicted, he'll let stop being a right-wing mascot and become a right-wing martyr. If he isn't, he'll set precedent for others like him to pick up guns. I'm
gonna leave that up there on the screen for you.
The middle of should avoid calling that prison.
Now, I'm there on the screen. You gotta be boo-boo the fool. Now, you gotta be boo-boo to think for 1 minute that there's going to be any equity. Okay? I knew as soon as the boy's name came up where it was gonna turn out. And some things you just gonna have to accept and stop trying to fight to change it. There are some, listen here, you can legislate all day long. You can legislate and make rules. People break down. They break them. Why? Because the rule says, just like I said about the truth, when it's against me, I ain't trying to hear it. I'm only about truth when it's for me, when it benefits me. You remember the movie RoboCop? Everybody remember that movie, right? In the end of the movie, after the criminals messed him up and he got back well again, and he went to the origin of the crime, of the criminal organization. And soon as he got in there, he said, "You're under arrest," and he pulled his weapon, and soon as he did that, he started breaking down. What's the significance of that? He said, listen here, part of his directives is put in the software that anytime a member or senior officer of this organization does something wrong, if you try to arrest them, it means termination. We're going to destroy you. Your circuits are going to blow up. You don't think that's present here? Look what the person wrote. Okay? Look what the person wrote. See, there's a whole lot of transference going on in our world. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said that. Okay? And it's been echoed. It's been echoed throughout the centuries. ever since we've been here. So why don't they want to have the race discussion? Because they know how it's going to turn out. If they're going to stand on the side of truth, then they got to say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Then they're going to have to make atonement. They ain't trying to do that. Too much money tied up in it. Okay? Y'all got to think, would you give up multi-million dollars? Would you give up notoriety and fame? Would you give up your power? Would you give up your position just to be right? Just to be on the side of right? Would you do it? Y'all are not listening. So with this whole thing going on, let's talk about the righteousness and unrighteousness of it. Would you, if you had a position that you were making thousands of dollars? Well, wait a minute, hold it, not thousands, millions. You're making millions of dollars and something happened, screwed up, and you knew it. And you knew that answering for that problem meant you losing all of that. Would you tell the truth? You know what the Bible says about that? The Bible says that a man's heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? Okay? We can't play with this. We can't play with this because we want to talk about having equity. We want to talk about people doing the right thing. We want to talk about people repairing us. But we can't, come on, we're not promoting an environment of righteousness and integrity. We're not doing that. Okay? You know they're not going to do it. So what is the Bible's answer? The Bible says, love not the world, neither them that are in the world. Why? I just finished telling you. You can legislate all day long, but you ain't going to stop the culture. You're not listening to me. They made it against the law to lynch. Did you think the Klan stopped meeting because they did that? Y'all not listening. They made a law. You couldn't enslave a person unless they were a convict. So you know what they did? They made you a convict. See, there's ways around them losing, and they're always going to make that stretch. But we can't be foolish enough to make that kind of stretch. We got to understand something that, listen, if this is not your house, it doesn't matter. You were brought here. That means you're in a legacy of brought here. Don't matter what you built here. Don't matter what you made here. And you can try to make them do right all day. You know how long you're going to be fighting for that to happen? Let's go back to a Bible story and remember that there was a little boy that was slated to be killed. He was slated to be killed, and his mother put him in a boat, put him in a basket, and sent him down the river. Okay? Sent him down the river, and he got picked up by the enemy. Okay? How long had those people been waiting? 400, almost 400 years. That's 10 generations. They had been waiting. And they had some hell of a resolve because after 10 generations, they're still waiting to get free. Okay? That little boy grew up to be the deliverer. Okay? And you know what God's answer was? Get out. Let my people go. Tell them to let you go so you can get out. So here it is right here. See, this is a win-win situation for his legacy. Either he's going to be the mascot if he wins, okay, but if he doesn't win, he's going to be a martyr.
Obama's 23 policing task. I know you were listening in to our previous conversation, and I wanted to pull out another thread here because I'm seeing this all around. I'm sure you are as well. between Kyle Rittenhouse defendants in the Auburn Arbery trial, what do you make of the rise in white vigilante violence, which is, I think, how we can categorize these cases?
You know, Zerlina, conversations we're having tonight are one of the reasons why I am so thankful for you and that you have the space that you do. Because we need to go deeper, as your earlier guest said, than the headlines. Headlines are continuously about the tears, about the theatrics, but we actually need to be talking about the inevitable outcomes of a culture of white supremacy patriarchy that depends on, Bell can find that we cannot separate patriarchy from white supremacy, from heteronormativity, from all of these kind of dominant structures that rest themselves in someone's understanding of their identity, and therefore their belief in what their responsibility is to keep this country that they believe belongs to them in the social order that works for them. So this kind of vigilantism is a direct result of the backlash ever movements for greater equity come through. We've 60s, we certainly saw it after Reconstruction was intended, because folks that look like Lena were making entirely too many. We know
Hope
that
y'all are
white
listening.
depends and rely on
You can't make this
to
stuff
maintain and
up.
any.
Oh, you heard that? You can't make this stuff up. It's clear. Okay? They'll kill you to maintain the order. You can't make this stuff up. Now, the sister is talking here. My question is to every man who's watched this interview or anyone like it. What does that tell you? What does it tell you? And what position do you need to take now? Y'all are not hearing me. What position do you need to take now? Knowing that it doesn't matter what you do, if you do not ensure that your movement is protected, they will use violence to stop you. I've heard a lot of stuff lately, okay? And especially when it comes to male-female relations within our grouping. And I just have to say this. Guys, if you want respect on the planet, you are going to have to set it down and lay it out and make your presence. You scared of me? I'm going to give you a reason to be scared. Or, you scared of me? Good. Let me come over here. Then if you're so afraid, you won't be coming over here. Bring your families and put them in that place. Get your people squared away. And then call Omar and Junebug and Ray Ray and give them, y'all protect the outside. Don't let nothing come in here. Don't have authorization to be in here. But somehow we're in that, under that delusion that it's actually going to work out for you. Okay? I'm in my 50s. I'm almost 60 years old. And you know all I've seen my whole life, even though it's a dream. Oh, we want to do this, we want to do that, da 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 da. But remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Are you listening? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We don't. Do we have had doctors? Do we not have doctors? Hmm. Did any of our doctors do any studies? In fact, here's the sad thing. Those same doctors, y'all listen to me carefully, those same doctors are going by the stats that they came up with about black health. Don't that seem odd to you? It's like a light American teaching black history. Does that seem odd to you? Let's keep it moving.
Brown folk, LGBTQ people, disabled people, etc., or anyone whose politics would demand equity for all of us, that those folks stand in the way of the social order they prefer, will be at risk of the kind of terroristic vigilance that we've seen displayed in the trial of folks that you're talking about now.
So how do we because obviously, as you mentioned, Reverend Barber wrote a book with parallels, pointing out the parallels between the redemption and what's happening now, the period in American history right after Reconstruction was ended. And so can you talk about we can navigate this moment? Because it's clear that there has been a response to the racial reckoning. And the response to the racial, like, I want to be an anti-racist, is no. No, we're not having that here. We're banning critical race theory. We're banning books. We're not talking about race. We're not talking about history. I don't want my kids to feel bad about their past. But how do we push through that? I feel like that is still a minority of the American public.
It is, which is why we should stop to make us ashamed for telling the truth and wanting.
Okay. You heard the question. The question is, how do we get past it? The answer is clear. The answer is very, very clear. Let me say this, and I want to respect you, the listener, when I say this. How hot does it have to get in the fire before you decide to get out of it? Wait a minute, maybe you didn't understand that one. How much water has to get in your lungs trying to tread water before you start pushing for the shore? Maybe you didn't understand that one either. You ever sit down for a long time and all of a sudden your leg starts to feel funny and tingly? We call that your leg going to sleep when actually it's a neural issue. Okay, where a nerve is pinched off and the blood circulation is pinched off. How long you gonna sit there with your leg going to sleep before you move it? See, there are questions we're gonna keep asking because nobody's offering a viable solution. And the reason why they're not offering it, because to whom much is given, much is required. The 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 Father already told you what you needed to do. You don't want to do it. Instead, you keep finding new ways to avoid having to do it. Let me give you a story about 8 people. Okay? They were in a city. They were in a city and they got news that the city was going to be destroyed. Okay? They got news that the city was going to be destroyed. There wasn't nothing they going to be able to do about it. You know what the guy said who was in charge? If I can find 50 righteous people, would you spare the city? Okay. Couldn't find it? 30. Okay, for 30. 10. Okay, for 10. Couldn't find the 10. Messenger said, get out of town. See, and even right to the end, he came to the realization that we got to go. Told his family, listen, go out, don't look back. And right then, there was one member that had it fixed in their mind that I would rather be back there, and I'm mourning the loss of it. This is where we are right now. How long is it going to take you before you haven't even started yet? You still identifying with what other people call you. And you know what? You will fight and tooth and nail for anybody that tells you anything different. Why? Because you want to stay here. I don't get it. Some of us, it is what it is. If you can't survive it, if you can't take it, you probably need to go. But don't sit here and argue about it and don't complain about it. You need to do something. Else all your arguments going to fall on deaf ears. Or if it does fall on any kind of ear, they're going to say, yeah, they ain't going to do nothing. The boy who cried wolf. When the wolf really came, nobody wanted to hear it. So let's hear what her answer is.
Look, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I feel like we have really too much time defending that is not only sensible but is right in the eyes of history. So we see this kind of tactic where the people who should be ashamed, the people who should be banning books and making up lies about who won the election and who should be ashamed of storming capitals and crossing state lines with AR-15, those are trying to make the rest of us. And instead of cowering on their turf and by their terms, we need to switch this whole game. We need to recognize there's nothing to be ashamed of by wanting to teach young people true history so that they don't become the Kyle Rittenhouses of. There is nothing wrong with demanding an equity so that when the public health crisis comes across the, it's not continuously around in poor people who die disproportionately from it.
Okay. Are you hearing that? See, whenever you go visit someone, there are people that have rules in their house. Okay? They have rules in their house and they're not going to stray from it. It don't matter who you are. Okay? So if you come to my house and I have a rule that you need to take your shoes off, if you don't want to take your shoes off, don't come visit. If you're going to trust them with educating your children, you have forfeited your right to tell them what and how to teach. You want it taught a particular way? Teach them yourself. I'm game. See, I'm game. I'm ready, been ready. So when Umar Johnson and then people like him decide that he wants something just for us, he comes under fire. Not by them, but by us. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Yeah. But here's a sister saying it. Where are the men? Are there any brothers speaking up on this behalf? Are there any conferences being held? Are there any think tanks? Are there any things being formed? See, I'm guessing that feminism is making men back up and not care what happens. Now that's sad if that's the case. And so what needs to happen among us is we need to say, you know what? This is my ideology, my thing, but I'm not going to instill that on you because we got an enemy that we need to fight. Okay? Permanent underclass, inferior education, inferior health care, inferior communities. We can't get treated fairly in employment. There's a whole lot of places we having problems, but we just keep on trying to, please let me in. Please. Come on. Up. The law tells you you need to let me in. You're breaking the rules if you don't let me in. Tell you what my position is. You want to hear it? Okay. Hope you got both ears open. I am not trying to fight you for the status somewhere you don't want me. Did y'all hear that? I'm not trying to fight you. You don't want me there? Oh, bye. Because if I can do it for you, I can do it for me. And by you telling me no, I can't do it for you, you forcing me to do it for me. So either you let me in to join your party or I become competition. And we'll see. And that's the way you got to think. If they don't let you in, move out and then do your own thing and lock the door. And then when they come knocking on it, go home. You didn't want us over there, we staying over here. That's not segregation. If it is, they caused it by not hiring you. They caused it by discriminating against you. They by not letting you in. You know, I could pat myself on the shoulder. I never had many problems in relationships. And the reason why is this. If I was dating you and I saw 1 ounce of foolishness that didn't go along with the way direction I was going, that was the last date. If we were together and something showed up, oh no, I'm not in this relationship to develop you. You kidding me? No. You mean to tell me I got to tell you that your behavior's bad like you don't know? Uh-uh. It show up, that'll be the last. If I see it, that's the last day. Because I value myself more than to sit and wrestle with your mess. Them demons is yours. You keep them. In fact, loving you says I should leave because anything I tell you is going to feel like manipulation to you. Y'all are not hearing it. Manipulation is not love. So I'm going to let you have your way. Just do it without me. You don't need me not to do that. And so when we start telling The opposition, oh, you don't want me? Okay, bye. Then they look around and say, where are they at? Where they at? And you go across the track and you see them. But it's different than Tulsa. It's different than back in the day. See, we didn't learn from the stuff that happened to us. We should never have this problem. Never. Okay? Because we didn't cause it. Who we are to try to fix it. We put it in God's hands. You know what that means? Get yourself out the way. Let's keep it moving. This. This is really going to bake. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. Ah. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Wait. Wait. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh man. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. All I can. Ah. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Couldn't y'all just hear it? Wait a minute. You got too many damn Negro preachers in here. We don't want them Negro preachers in here. It'll be influencing the jury. I don't know if that don't sound funny to y'all. I don't know, funny to me. But there again, I'm just trying to, understand, and I want brothers to get this through their head as well. Listen, guys. James Brown said, "This is a man's world." Okay. What that means is that if it's yours, then you take care of it. You take charge over it. You protect it. You make sure that it's doing what you're supposed to be, that it's supposed to be doing. And you have the authority to correct it if it's not doing it. Okay? We need to stop being reactive and be proactive. Stop waiting for something to happen. You know, I've been part of a lot of organizations in the last 10 years, been trying to go and do something. And you know what I hear? Oh, well, ain't nobody else doing nothing. Ain't nobody else doing nothing. Come on, son. Really? Ain't nobody else doing nothing. Does that absolve you? Because somebody else is not doing anything? Listen here, guys. While you're sitting and deliberating and trying to figure out when the right time is, more people are dying. While you sitting trying to figure it out, opportunities are hitting the wind. While you trying to sit and figure it out, your woman is now leading the forefront. I often wondered about that. If you wanted something good to happen in your church, you got a bunch of women doing it. I was Church of God in Christ for a lot of years. You know who funded those building funds? It was the women. They gave their eye teeth. They gave their baked goods. They did all kinds of stuff. Y'all help me with this. Yet y'all want to climb all over them and y'all need to submit to us. She busy. She busy. When you show her something better and more powerful than what she's doing, she'll submit. If she don't, let her butt go. When she gets tired of being out there, she'll get with it or forget it. See, men look for too many excuses not to do stuff. Way too many. Then you wonder why the world is in the place that it's in. For those of you who are atheists and don't want to hear about the Bible, guess what? The Bible says that Adam was first formed, then Eve. So that means Adam's in charge. Whether he's taking charge or not does not matter. Y'all are not listening to me. Doesn't matter. It's going to keep on rolling, and until he get in place, it's going to keep on doing what it does. It's waiting for him. She's waiting for you. So, brother, where you at? Still trying to figure that out. Where you at? Still trying to figure that out. This is a meeting with the bishop. You all have a lovely day.